Hello everyone, this is Roman Rakoudvao. I'm a game designer and a game designer teacher, and you're on my fan channel, Diamant Rouge. First of all, welcome to all the new subscribers! There are so many of you, oh my gosh. A lot of you just came about on the 4th episode of the Arcane Time Bomb miniseries I'm doing, called Pretend Like We Can Touch. So first of all, thank you for all of your support. I'm really glad that you'll enjoy what we are doing here. And as you might remember, I asked on the community post if some of you would be interested in having a Q&A. That's exactly what we are doing here, actually. I'm going to answer a few questions people have asked, and even some questions you didn't ask at all, because I can. Okay, so first of all, about Pretend Like We Can Touch. There is several questions you'll ask. First thing is, how long do it take to animate one episode? So, usually, I don't talk about animation because what I'm doing here is not animating. It's merely storyboarding and just trying to put on some sound and lighting information. That's all. So to storyboard, do the editing, the sound, the voice recording for a 2.5 minute episode, what you had at the start of this series, it would take me something like about 2 weeks just to have everything neatly. You might have noticed the 4th episode is a bit longer, and spoiler alert, the 5th episode is a double episode. It's actually longer, so for this one it will take something like probably 3 to 4 weeks to do. In reality, what the time I really spend on it, it's like something like 6 to 7 days full time working on it, because you might have guessed I have work. I do other stuff beyond that, but if I really dedicate myself to an episode, something like around 4 minutes, it takes something like 5 days to actually, I wouldn't say produce, because I mean you see what it is, but the 5th episode is not coming out soon, because some of you know I had a problem of around my living situation. So I'm taking a bit more time to do the episode. Actually, it's coming in something like a week and a half away, maybe. And that's why you have this video in between, just so you know that the channel isn't dead. So yeah, episode 5, you can expect it about either right before February or at the beginning of February 2025. Some people asked what software I was using. I'm using the Adobe Suite, the Creative Cloud. I don't know if I would recommend it for the simple reason that it's expensive. Adobe isn't a company that I can really rally behind the values of and the management practices of, really. So I don't know if I would recommend it, but it's what I use purely out of habit and how I was trained to do stuff. But I do hear that there is plenty of free alternative around that have all of the components you need to do that. But if you want my whole process, I'm using the montage feature of Photoshop to have every frame in a sequence, and I use one calc per image just to be a bit more quick about it. And then after that, what I do is export video file. This video file actually is set up in a way that I make every of my frame in the montage window a second long, and I make my video render an image per second. It makes it so that I have frames, and with those frames I import them into Premiere Pro. You could do that with After Effects. It's just that I'm more used to Premiere Pro, and it's just the way I do things. And what it allows me to do is make a render before my image are all ready. Right now what you are seeing, it's me trying to render an image. The fact is, I already have a sequence for episode 5 with unfinished things. It permits me to, time things before I make cool drawing, really rendered out drawings. It's messy and all, but I have the timing down. If there is something in the sequence that I think it's bad, something in the sequence that doesn't fit what I need, if there's an image that needs to be 3 or 3 images that really needs to be 1, I can go back in Photoshop, make a new image or suppress some image and make the render again with the same file name, and my image is automatically replaced in Premiere Pro. In Premiere Pro, I use text and I import sound design and recording of the voices, and I just make everything I really need to do in Premiere Pro. Actually, it's a really permissive pipeline, but you could absolutely do it with only Photoshop, GIMP 2, or Procreate, or Clip Studio Paint if you like that. You could absolutely do everything in only one thing. I've certainly done it for my video clips. The problem is that it makes for really, really heavy files, and it makes for really hard to work around sound files. You could use Sony Vegas Pro. You could use any software for video editing that you want. It really doesn't matter. And for the sound design, I usually go on the Universal Sound Bank, which is French. You can really pick up any sound bank, online sound bank you like for the sound design and to record. I use the the Windows default recording software for the voices. I'm not picky about the quality of the stuff. I can work the sound directly in my editing software, so I'm really not worried about the sound quality. If you want to do that too, what I would recommend is take any digital drawing software you are really comfortable with. I would recommend that you keep it really loose. Don't do too much details, and choose a style that makes it easy for you to change stuff really quickly. I don't recommend, except if you really have, complex shots with moving parts. I really don't recommend for you to use layers. Try to constrain yourself to doing it in one layer and fusion the layers when you're done. What's really working for me to force myself to not go into too many details is actually make the image really small. There is like 400 pixels right here. Not not more. And you can see it actually. Look at the video. I'm actually scaling a lot of what I'm doing. It's really thumbnail format for me that I scale up after a while. It's why it's messy, and I want it that way because it forces me to be really intentional about the broad big picture, and not getting too invested into the small details because they don't matter. They don't matter right now. I'm not trying to animate the shot. I'm not trying to make VFX stuff. I'm not trying to render their outfit. I'm not even sure what outfit I want them in most of the scenes. I want people to be able to choose or imagine that, or if when they want to animate, I want people to be able to redo the character design of the characters. So I'm not too hung up on what the details are like. Maximum I will do for an intention of rim lights on their shoulders or skin or face. That's the maximum amount of details I actually want there. Because people that are really good at their job could do better. So rather than doing it, crappily, I prefer not doing it at all. And let other people pick up the slack and ask themselves, okay, how do I do that for real, for good? And that makes me realize that some of you asked if I would ever make it easier to tell what's happening in something, because of course with this style it can be very confusing. So the first reason is I'm actually not good enough to make the value pop off. So I'm sorry about that. I'll try to do better. And I'm really curious about what scenes, so we could analyze it together and actually see what I could do to make it less confusing. I'm especially thinking of episode 3 montage. But the real answer to that question is no. I won't render my shots more than that, for the simple reason that if I do that, I'm making this miniseries not just showing off what I would bring to the table in production, but I would be actually making it full blown off in the animation project, and I can't have that. Because this is supposed to be fun, and cleanup is not the fun part for me. I'm not a layout artist. I'm not an in-between animator. I'm not a cleanup artist. I mean, not even a line artist. My usual style is very, very, very messy and fully illustrative, not practical at all. For this kind of project. So no, I won't ever make it more legible than it actually is right now. Some things might be confusing, and I really invite you to point out in all of the Pretend I Can Touch series what are the cuts that you think are unclear, because I actually want to improve, but I won't change our styles to make it more legible, because to me everything that is not legible in those scenes are things that I want people to be able to reclaim, to say, oh, I think that the intent was that, so I'm gonna make it. Or maybe other people have other ideas, like I won't be drawing foreground swaying flowers in the wind. I won't be drawing, VFX, I won't be drawing, droplets falling in the foreground. Because if it's not a storytelling element to me, I think that an in-between artist or someone wanting to push the shot further can do without it, being what I have to spend time on. What I want to spend time on is the rhythm, the flow of the dialogues, the camera values, the really what makes the short interesting from really a base structure point of view. So yeah, I'm really sorry, and I really hope that I will make it legible enough in the future that anyone who wants to work on those shots can actually have everything they need. And if you have any questions about something, please comment, and maybe I will try to post more legible version of the shorts in the community post, maybe when I will do a bundle of several episodes together. Maybe I will replace some shots with a bit more rendered version of it. Okay, moving on. Someone asking me which of Ekko and Jinx is the easier to draw, in my opinion. Ekko is easier, like way easier, because Ekko doesn't change face according to his personality, dominant personality trait on the moment. His facial structure is very stable, and once you've studied it, it's really easy to understand how constructed is his face. So you, even if I'm not following his model exactly, it's really easy to pick up on what make Ekko's face, and I can exaggerate a bit of the things to get it across more clearly. But when you study Ekko's face is like, okay, he got Denver hairs, he got really chill cheekbones, high cheekbones, and his jaw is squared and narrow, and he has a rather round face, but the fact that his cheekbones and all of the bottom part of his front part of his jaw is really on the front, it's really easy to identify. Of course, his nose, his lips, and his brows, it's really easy to analyze the structure of his face. And his hair is someone so iconic that I actually can't mess it up. It's really hard to mess up Ekko once you've spent some times analyzing his jawline. Really, Jinx is my personal hell, because you might know that Jinx has actually two facial wigs. She has a Porter facial wig and a Jinx facial wig. And it's enough that she has a bit of a rounder face when you're supposed to think of Porter when you look at her. It's trouble enough. Both of the faces are really hard to draw, because she has the face of everyone, of every she doesn't have a default baby face or babe girl face, I would say. It's really really hard to pinpoint what about her face make it her face. So when trying to deconstruct how her face looks like, you on instinct you think that she would have a rather long face, because she has this long nose, really narrow. You would think that she would also have a pretty narrow and pointy, pointy chin. She actually doesn't. Her face is really round. It's round, and it's the cheekbones and front of the part between her nose and her chin that are really prominent, and make it that on certain angles you feel like she had a thin, long face. She absolutely doesn't. In fact, Ekko, I can make an elongated square. I can make a rectangle out of his face, and 2 lines for the cheekbones and front chin. I can't do that. I absolutely can't do that with with Jinx. Jinx has to be round, and you have to kind of carve, the narrow part of her out of her round-ish face. And the only thing that is actually quite long and narrow about her is her nose. And she has big eyes. I absolutely can't, because I have a tendency to, my personal style hasn't big eyes. I do really small eyes compared to the show art styles, and it doesn't work with Jinx at all. I can get away with it with Ekko. I can't with her. I systematically have to make her eyes bigger and bigger from sketch to actual semi-render, colored render, or value render, because she actually has big eyes even when she's Jinxed, like even when she's unhinged and you're not supposed to think about powder and all. She is the most harrowingly hard character to draw the face of accurately. So most of the time I don't draw accurately at all. So yeah, Jinx is my personal nightmare. So most of the time I rely on her hair to make her recognizable, and guess what? In Pretend Like We Can Touch, she changes hairstyles every fucking episode. So I'm screwed. So yeah, I'm really counting on the fact that you know what you're coming for. And some of the shots are a bit easier to recognize than other. But yeah, she's the one I have to, even when I think I'm done with the shot, I will look at everything and I won't recognize her, and I have to take the shot back so that she's recognizable again. Example in end of episode 4, I would say. I think I can show you. Ekko is easy. He's like a vertical rectangle I can chisel out. The first time I rendered Jinx's face, she wasn't jinxed, because I still thought about her face like an elegant thing, but when you analyze it, she really isn't. So if I put that next to the final thing I made for them, I had to make her head so much rounder because otherwise she wouldn't look like herself, you know. It was really, really frustrating. Yeah, Jinx, really hard to draw consistently. You know, if you do it one time, it's okay. But most of the time, I really can't get a hold of her. Even I love her body. I love drawing her body. Like, I love her. I really appreciate her body type. But her face is really hard for me. I always had a really, really difficult time to get a hold of her face because her silhouette is nice. Her face is my personal nightmare. Okay, someone took the time to implicitly ask, okay, what will happen? Don't tell me what will happen. So they kind of expanded on the fact that what happened to Jinx in the meantime, what Ekko did after she left, how long it's been between Pretend I Get Touch and the end of Arcane, and how comes Jinx is in this kind of mindset that she is in Pretend I Can Touch, like a mix of season 1 and season 2 personality. Okay, so if I have to tell you, episode 5 will hint at a lot of what happened for them, but it will, it will be hints, really hints. I don't think I will ever do a full-blown flashback about what happened for each of them individually. I think I can say here the whole point of Pretend That We Can Touch is about why Jinx can come back, why Jinx didn't stay back there, and why she just won't come back to Piltover and Zaun, and why Ekko was the character that has to kind of ask this question quite directly, I think. Why I think he would be the only character who could make some time to ask the question up front. And some of you might know that to me it's already a big deviation from the canon. Ekko, as written in the canon, for me, would never get out of Zaun and ask her to come back because filters, because duty towards the firelights, because establishing the lost children of Zaun as this kind of positive influence in Zaun. But if one of them of all the cast has to reach out, it would be Ekko. And I gave him a reason to do that. The reason being, it can't be about them. It can't be about their relationships because, oh my god, the amount of shame between them that it would be really hard for them, to have this conversation of why did you left and why don't you come back. I needed them to have an excuse. I needed Ekko to have the ultimate excuse to come to her. So, of course, it's about the firelights. Of course, it's about, being there for Zaun. And you'll understand exactly what it entails. I think about episode 7, you'll see why he was more comfortable asking her for this rather than just say, hey, I miss you, like he did in episode 4. So yeah, I didn't made it clear how much time went between Arcane and Pretend Like You Can Touch. The first reason is because I'm not clear on that myself. And the second reason is that it could be anywhere between their 20s and their 30s. Really, I do think that it doesn't change much if they are 22, 25, or if they are actually 29. It doesn't change much because I would still see them as having other experiences than looking for each other. So the minimum for me would be something like 4 to 5 years. I think it would be the minimum for this storyline to work. Because I need them to be quite established in their individual lifestyles. For Jinx to be traveling around the world, and for Ekko to actually being active like he is in the League of Legends lore, trying to counter criminal activities in Zaun, trying to elevate the community of Zaun that needs protection, and tackling really big projects like getting rid of the Grey in Zaun. Yeah, that would be the minimum, something like 4 years. But it could actually be 10 without being a problem. The way I draw them, actually, I'm drawing them like if they were something like 26 to 27. So, yeah. It doesn't need to be a decade. But in my head, it could be almost a decade. I can surely tell you, without any spoils for the series, that Ekko, the whole time he wasn't looking for Jinx, was really active with the firelights. He actually drowned himself in work in this version. And he didn't regret it. He really was glad. But when things started to get a little bit better after the war, you can get that the Firelights community kind of dwindled slightly, because people didn't need it as much as keeping it, keep coming at the tree. And in this version, and I won't ever say it in the main series, so it's not spoilers, but I'm really writing it like the tree did survive, but it's not well. The tree actually took a toll, and it took really several years for it to actually recover. And the project to actually clean Zaun's air comes from the fact that the tree is not going well. The community of firelights dwindled. People returned to Zaun. Not everything is perfect or even getting better. It's just changing, the only reason why in this version, in my opinion, Ekko bothered to leave Zaun was because the community was less dense. Firelights and Lost Children of Zaun were fewer and fewer, and he could afford to leave Scar handling things and actually look for the only person he actually trusts to bounce ideas around about what he's trying to do here. But one of the reasons why I want several years to have passed after the end of Arcane is that Ekko in this version spent so much time trying to save the community, so much time trying to prep people up to live without the tree, spend so much time drowning in work that once the tree became a bit more stable and the community dwindled enough that he didn't feel like he had to be everywhere at once, he actually thought about it. And for me, it took several years for him. So it's not a spoiler, really. I won't ever talk about how things went within the firelights because Ekko, and you'll see why I don't do it, but this is the only way I imagine things feel right for this version of the story. Less people in the firelights, the tree actually getting worse and not recovering completely, and Scar being able, because he proved it several times before, being able to take the lead on what's left of the community. And of course Zaun, just being Zaun, actual League of Legends Zaun, so it's pretty cool, but terrible, but chaotic and hopeful, and nothing, is like a straight progression towards better stuff. It's just danger keeps changing faces, and Cambarungs keep popping up, and Piltover continues being Piltover, but things change. Some things are better, some things are worse, The reason why the personality of Jinx is a mix of season 1 and season 2, for me it's about showing that I'm trying to repair my relationship with the way they portrayed Jinx in season 2. Season 2 Jinx isn't bad at all by any means. I really like her. I really like what they decided to do with her. But I feel like for me to accept this version, I have to accept that the authors changed the way we saw her mental states. I had to tell myself that we didn't saw every time she had an episode. Every time she was conflicted, every time mental illness crept up on her, I really have to believe that even if she felt better after the season 1 finale, even if it was a messed up way of doing therapy for herself, nothing, just disappeared, and she could still heard voices, but way less than before. She still had hallucinations, just less violent, and she was less inclined to be guided by them, especially after Isha appeared in her life. Um, and pretend like we can touch, you might have noticed. I'm not showing either of their point of view. I'm trying to show the connection between them. I'm trying to show uh, what they are willing to disclose about themselves to each other, but I'm not showing much of Jinx's hallucinations uh, or her inner voices, or even her inner voice. Um, I'm not trying to show too much of that. The same way, I absolutely refuse to show uh, Ekko's rewind abilities. Uh, I'm showing when he used it. You can see shot by shot every time he actually rewind in Pretend Like We Can Touch. There are some shots that are a bit more discreet in his way to use it. Like you can see on shortly on a shot or two that's in some conversations she had with him in episode 3, I think, where when they are actually talking about why does she engineer, target practice for kids instead of toys, and you actually can see that at some point he rewinded because and in my head it's because he um, asked her questions and she reacted badly and he preferred to say nothing rather than uh, chasing her away by being too insisting. So for the same reason that I'm trying to keep it subtle when he uses Easy Drive, um, I'm not showing every time she actually has an episode, she actually hears stuff. I'm keeping it quite contained, uh, except when it's really overwhelming for her. And you'll see more of those in the future because she actually, for plot reasons, you will see some stuff happening, but I prefer to imply what's in their head rather than showing what's in their head, especially in the beginning. So yeah, that's why uh, for the for the scribble things, that's the reason why I'm not using it too much, because I don't want to revert to what she was in season 1 in that aspect. The second thing is I do want to imply that what she's doing right now works for her. It's not perfect, but she has a system, she has a lifestyle that actually permits her to live day by day, and she's not as unstable as she was when Silco was alive. She's not as depressed as she was when he died. Um, and she's not suicidal as she was when Isha died. um, but I do want to show that she didn't lose a sense of humor, her sassiness, her way to, cut into people's insecurities, because that's a canon law, even if a whole canon lore, a legal legend of Runeterra lore, is that she can seem bubbly and joyous and stuff like that, and a little too bit too much Harley Quinny to taste of most people, but I really want to believe that at some point she can become that. At some point she can use humor to just do a weird fucked up version of being bright and happy and really spread her own chaotic kind of joy. Um, and basically, what I'm aiming for is for her to become a 2xKO version of herself. And for that, I need her to be able to uh, actually be able to enjoy yourself. Of course, you can mostly see it during the episode 3 montage, because this is the only place where she had the space to, show how she lived up until now. Because when she's around Ekko, she's back in that mental place where she was when she was in Zaun. So she can't be that carefree, even if she tries, to get under his skin, when she tries to really be happy-go-lucky when he tries to have a serious conversation with her. So she's still quite avoided. But she's conscious that he's here because he wants to put some things down, and she isn't into that too much. So yeah, one of the reasons you kind of see she's a bit more like her season 1 version is, I'm trying to get joy back in our personality, because it's really part of the Jinx I love, the League of Legends Jinx. She's actually so happy to be messy, and I wanted to I wanted to show that she was on her way to become content with herself, and with that part of her and of her history. The voice line I'm trying to hold on to ground what Jinx is to me and what she's supposed to be like at the end of not only Pretend Like We Can Touch, but at a point where she's in the old canon law, is rules are meant to be broken, like buildings and people. Obviously, in Arcane, they chose to make her a bit more serious than his first line, but I think that this first line encompasses a lot of what Jinx is about. She doesn't like to obey anything on anyone, and she is almost baffled about how much people follow rules. She doesn't care at all about material stuff. She doesn't care about having something built and stay. She really likes, art that is in the making, not the final product at all. So buildings are like the antithesis of that, trying to stay eternal when it should be changing always. And also exploding stuff is fun to her in a less metaphysical way. And she does say, and people. And for me, even if it's really, really far away from her arcane version of her, I do think that she still thinks it's true. when she realized that, oh, I can take every everything, every trauma I have and people have about me, I can make it into a game. I can see people and say, okay, I'm gonna torture their moral limits a bit, and I will truly try to play with their perception of what's real and what's not. Because I'm broken. I am not able to make the difference between reality and my hallucinations, but I'm really really aware about how much of posh and proper society is a fiction that really needs to eat a bubble to to be taken down a notch, to uh, how the original version we had of Jinx was about happy-go-lucky anarchists that is really trying to tell you, hey, society not that important, rules not important at all, buildings not that important either, human life important if you want it to be, but really no. Uh, keeping, strange stuff inside cages, like animals or criminals, not about that at all. you know. Uh, so the reason why I'm trying to stir her in a direction where it's okay for her to actually say this line uh, makes it that she's a bit closer to season one incarnation about her specific type of humor or way to relate to people. Because she doesn't stop being a sociopath. Virtual, but I don't actually think that she is a sociopath. I do think that she is a bit self-centered and is trying to not linger too much about how people feel around her, because it would make her crazy, because she's actually is able to empathize with pretty much everyone, I think, uh, except unfortunately, except Caitlyn. I think she can't, because if she begins to empathize with Caitlyn, oh boy, there is a lot that she has to work on herself too. This is actually what she got into at the end of season 2, with her only real conversation with Caitlyn. She's actually admitting that I get it. You lost your parent too in this because of me, and I don't regret it. I can't. Uh, but I get that it sucks for you. So yeah, that's a kind of worm for another day. But yeah, with no spoilers, that's as much as I can tell you about the context of Pretend Like We Didn't Touch. Final question, I suppose. How many episodes left to the finale? Okay, counting that, most of them will probably be double episodes like episode 5, meaning that there will be something like around 6 minutes. My episode count right now, my timeline makes it 10 episodes. So the 10th episode will be rather long, because I have really several scenes to push into it, so it will be a really really long episode. The other a bit, it will be a bit more reasonable, I think. But yeah, a count on episode between 4 and 6 minutes, something like that. A final 10th episode that will be probably really long. I don't know much, but it will be long. And yeah, the 10th episode will be the finale. So you have 5th episode is coming somewhere at the beginning of February. So you got 6 more episodes. And it would mean 36 minutes of content, I would say, give or take. And 2 things. I will certainly include some side dialogues that maybe I will try to get voice acted by different people, and I won't do any animatics for them because I consider that that would be conversations, at least one conversation that I think isn't important for the plot, but I would still think is funny and interesting in the context of Pretend Like We Can Touch. So I would call them side episodes, bonus episodes, or side dialogues, bonus dialogues. Those I don't count as episodes. Those aren't relevant to the plot. They are just, fun ways to explore the dynamics of those 2 characters and how I see them interact. I have no interest in making those scenes into animatics. And really you can plug them anywhere in between episodes, maybe not between episode 4 and 5 because that's another kind of worm, but otherwise you can easily put them in the episode 3 montage, or after episode 5, or after episode 6. Once I'm all done with all the episodes, I will certainly make a video where I put every scenes together, so it makes for a short movie. But I will wait a bit, and I will take any feedback to make it a bit more clear, to fix the pace or the dub or the short clarity in any episode, so that this version will be, the kind of the final version of Pretend Like We Can Touch. I still think that Pretend Like We Can Touch is better experienced episode per episode, because there is a different ID between every episode. But really short scenes like that, I think they deserve to be reunited as a whole. So yeah, 10 episodes, so with 6 episodes to the end. All written, they're all planned out in quite precise ways. I just have to draw them and edit them so that every discrepancy between scenes is addressed. But I have a little notepad where I have all of the scenes described, all of the dialogues. Sometimes the dialogues in there are not the final ones because the way I write them make it, there is a difference between how you would write a dialogue for a fanfic and how you write a dialogue when you have camera work applied to it. And also written fanfic, like you can find on AO3 or fanfiction.com or Wattpad, they're permissive with out-of-character dialogues, because the line between the thing that the characters say and the thing they actually think and the thing that they feel but are not conscious it's a bit less jarring if I ever make Ekko say something that I think he wouldn't say in canon. When you're doing it with the format of Pretend Like We Can Touch, some dialogues I had to edit heavily because it was okay when you read them, but when you saw them actually, no, you would never say that. Episode 5 is really a prime example of that. I written the line, I did the storyboard, and I had to re-edit the dialogues heavily to cut out a lot of stuff because I felt like, no, they wouldn't dare to say it like that, or they wouldn't touch on that, even if it's really interesting from a character development, even if I think it's a fine analysis of their characters. I doubt that they would have enough clarity or enough emotional honesty to actually verbalize it. So I tried to make it understandable, make it, I'm still thinking about it, but I would never try to make them tell something that I don't think they are ready to verbalize or think about. You'll see if you see episode 5, you can try to guess what line of dialogues I heavily edited to make it, less out of character for them to say. Some of them, are just rather than talking about them, talking about their feelings, they prefer to talk about what they feel like they have to do. So I think that's all for the Q&A. And thank you very much for listening to my rumbles. Have a very nice day trying to enjoy your time with people around you, or people sharing your passion, your silly passions on the internet. And no matter what, take care of yourselves, and see you for the next episode.